camera is being very, very dumb tonight, so we're just going to do the chatty thing instead. While I work, I did arrange things so I can see the chat, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This particular pattern is called Baby Cephalopods 2 by Planet June. I love Planet June's works. They are amazing. They are super detailed, very well explained, and they just make the whole process so much easier than it has to be, or than it could be. So love them. If you ever want to make one of these yourself, you feel free to visit their website. I will provide a link even when I upload this to YouTube. So we're just going to get started though. The yarn that I am using is Caron Simply Soft. This main color is red, particularly autumn red, because the commissioner requested red for the, how did they phrase it? Red for the, oh, dadgummit. Okay, so they wanted me to, they want the shell to be red and brown, and they want the rest, or orange and brown, and they want the rest to be red. Okay, so we're going to swap colors real quick. This is Caron Simply Soft Light. I don't normally work with it because it is so thin compared to my normal Caron. You can see, well, I don't know if you can see because comparatively, it's about half the size. There are two ways I can work with it. I can either double it and use two strands together, which is what a lot of people do. I'm just really not a fan of doing it because it's a pain in the tail, because you're having to keep track of two strands at once. Or I can just hope it works. I will probably be going with the hope it works method, but let's go ahead and prep to do it with two strands and see how well that works for us. If it's too much of a pain in the tail, I might just not do this commission right now and work instead on something else, but we'll see. Okay, so because I don't need it. Okay, so two strands held together. This will be fun. I don't normally do this, and it's going to be, oh boy, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I should have double checked and made certain I had my regular Caron in the right colorway, but of course I didn't, and it's too late and the stores are all closed at this point. So we will make do. My only problem is Caron is already splitty as hell. I love Caron. Caron Simply Soft, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it's very, very splitty, very prone to breaking itself open. Splitting, being a brat. So there's technically stitch 1. I don't know, maybe it'll look really good, who knows. 2. Nope, only grab one strand. 3. 4. Like so many plushies, or even so many projects, this is going to be done in mostly multiples of 6. Because it's just an easier number to work with, frankly. Especially if you're working in rounds. Unless the pattern has a specific reason not to work in multiple 6, you're going to see multiples of 6 almost anytime you're working in the round. 1, 2, 3. That one. It's just simpler, honestly. 6 is easy to divide by, you know. Sorry, I got lost on where my stitch was again. I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of the color scheme that the commissioner asked for. I don't really like working with reds or oranges, but hey, they're plushy. They want it. They get it. I have a sneaking suspicion I am not going to like how this looks, and I'm going to go and get a different yarn to work with before I send it out and do it again, but it's okay. I honestly don't mind doing these. They're fairly quick and simple. The first year I had this pattern and felt confident with it, within the, I want to say, November and December, I made just a ton of these as Christmas presents for my nieces, great nieces, nephews, great nephews. Of which there of which there are a lot, because my brother and my sister are both very fecund. Is that the right word? I think it is. Okay. I should have grabbed one of my row counters too, but oh well, I'll live. lot of this particular pattern relies on where you do your increases and where you do your decreases to shape the plushie. So it's really cool, like the way it handles it. It's kind of like the dinosaur plushie that I was working on, that I got to one particular point when I hate this part, and I haven't really picked it up again since. But that one uses short stitches versus tall stitches, and where you place them to actually shape the neck, so you don't have to like sew the neck as a different part. It's all one piece with the body. You just have to sew the legs and the head and the muzzle on it, and you get one continuous piece for the body and the neck and the tail. So this one, what you end up doing is you'll do 3 sets of 2 stitches per stitch, and then 3 single stitches just in a row, and it gives you a kind of ovally shaped plushie. Maybe it's a very distinctive. It's very nautilus shaped, which is what this is. It's the baby nautilus pattern. You'll see as we go along. But I'm not sharing the pattern, because not mine. Paid pattern. I want Planet June to get all the monies for any particular thing that they want to make and sell. I do have permission to sell items made from the pattern, which is good, because these are the big, the cuttlefish and nautilus and octopus and stuff are my biggest sellers. Smallest items, biggest sellers. So I'm very thrilled that Planet June makes the patterns available. Hold on. My red tried to get tangled up with the orange, and I don't want it doing that. Okay. Alright, we are starting row 4. That is one thing with June. She doesn't actually... She counts the magic ring as the first row, which I appreciate. But a lot of pattern designers just don't. They're just like, magic ring, and then they're like, not... That's not a row itself. Which to me doesn't make sense. Sorry, it is hot here. It is sweaty. I'm sitting in front of a fan, but I am still very itchy from sweat, so... The cat is at the kitchen door again. Which means she's antagonizing one of the other 2 cats through it. And here in a bit, Figaro will get annoyed with it and will start scratching at the door, which then Figgy gets in trouble for because she's not supposed to scratch the door. But Lady likes to sit right in front of it to encourage her to scratch it, because Lady's a bitch. She won't be able to do that at the new house. The new house, Sunzu gets to be in my office with me, and Lady and Figaro are going to be together in the rest of the house. And so if Lady tries to antagonize Figaro, Figaro's going to beat the crud out of her, because Figaro's a lot tougher than Lady. Yeah, you better get away from that door. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Cool. I'm right where I should be. She's annoyed she didn't get a response at the door that she was sitting at, so she's now gone over to the other door to sit there and see if she can get Figaro to try and fuss at her. I swear she does it on purpose, because she's trying to get Figaro in trouble. She's a ridiculously stupid cat, but she's also, like, very manipulative. This is the cat who, after she picked on Figaro once and got her butt kicked, she ended up with an abscess in one leg. So, of course, we took her to the vet, and she got fussed over, and she got special treating foods, things like that for a bit. And so the next time that Figaro got up and they fought, then even though she wasn't injured that fight, she would pretend to limp whenever there was a person in the room, in hopes of getting extra treats and cuddles and stuff. Well, my roommate and I figured it out and realized she was faking it after another vet visit to make certain she hadn't gotten an abscess on her leg. And so we stopped giving her special treatment. However, my partner still was, and so she would limp when he was in the room, but not when it was my roommate or I. Until finally, we managed to have him watch from where he could see her, but she couldn't see him, and she walked fine, and then he walked in the room where she could see him, and she immediately started limping. And he realized it was a fake, and he stopped giving her treats too, and now she doesn't do that anymore. Hello, Winter Miser. Thank you for joining us tonight. Alright, so I am working on a crochet project. You probably can't see it very well because my camera that was supposed to be showing you my hands is not working for me. I just realized you can't see the crochet at all. There we go. It is a commission that I'm working on for my Etsy shop, and it is a pattern by Planet June. When I post the video to YouTube, I'll go ahead and include a link to the pattern there. So let's see that. Mostly, though, I'm griping about the cat and this yarn, because I don't like this yarn. This yarn, by the way, is Karen's Simply Soft Light in pumpkin colorway. I honestly wouldn't have a problem with it if it weren't for the fact that it is it's thinner even than the normal Karen, so that makes it a little harder to work with. I'm having to work with double strands to make it the same size as normal Karen would be, so... I also apologize for the fact I have 10-minute follow-on, but just for those who don't know, if you are a streamer and you are in any way LGBT, it really pays to have that extra protection against hate raids in the form of the 10-minute follow before people can chat, because otherwise there's a good chance that somebody is going to realize that you are black or LGBT or some other minority and take umbrage and decide to come in your chat and harass you. And I just don't have the patience for it. So 10-minute follow it is. Okay. Alright, now, sorry, my yarns keep trying to strangle themselves together. Okay, back to this. I don't remember what stitch I was on. I remembered. Okay, and you can see, well, maybe, how it's forming a kind of cup, but it's not the usual round cup like when I'm making something. It's one side is longer than the other side. And that's all about the shaping, which is the big thing that Planet June is so good about, is figuring out how to a way to shape things while the pattern remains simple and easy and fun to do. So let's see. Alright, this next one's just... The real fun is going to be when I get to the non-shell part of the Nautilus, because it's all done in one continuous thing. The only part that is not continuous is the little part that goes over the face of the Nautilus, which is made separately and sewn on. But this time I'm going to have to swap yarns when I get to the body, because they specifically want the shell all one color and the body a different color. So that'll be fun, because I have to remember where that swap actually takes place. In other news, speaking of LGBT creators, I finally got to take my tea again. I've been out for months. And I finally, on Friday, had an appointment to go and get it refilled. Great. But then I got to the pharmacy to pick it up, and the pharmacy registers were down. So I couldn't pick it up. So I had to go back today to the pharmacy, but I was able to pick it up, and I was able to give myself my shot, and oh man, it bled awfully, and it was very difficult to get the needle in, but I don't care, because I'm back on testosterone, and that is a very important thing for me. Okay. I'm going to count here real quick, just to make certain I've got the right number of stitches, because I'd started counting at the beginning of the row, and then I got distracted and stopped counting. So we're going to make certain... Where did my... There. This is the, by the way, Knit Picks Caspian wood crochet hooks. I love them. Yeah, I use a lot of the metal ones, which are, kind of the cheap boy brand, or whatever the pronunciation of that is, whatever. I use a lot of those, but man, do I love these Caspian hooks. They were They were a gift from my other half years ago, and I'm still using them to this day. Okay, good. I am exactly where I need to be. Perfect. Okay. So that was that row. Yeah. See, it's splitty. It does not like behaving. Well, you guys can't see because I keep putting my hands down where you guys can't see them. I'm used to having the other camera going, which shows you guys, you know, down here. So that's where I'm used to crocheting. But no, that camera doesn't want to work tonight, so... Excuse me. Oh, goody. Okay, so... Planet June was actually where I learned to do the invisible decrease, which is excellent for plushies because you don't see all of the lumps that would otherwise be visible on a decrease. So it helps the plushie look more uniform and much nicer. And again, she uses it for shaping purposes. So like she'll decrease at one spot and then increase at another spot, same row, to keep the same number of stitches but give you some shape. Sorry, I go quiet, I'm counting. Sorry, I dropped one of my 2 strands, so I'm having to redo that 1 stitch. That's fine. In the whole of things, 1 stitch being redone, not that bad. And I dropped that blasted strand again. Dad, come it. There we go. So now our cup is taking on a different shape. And that's expected. That's what it's supposed to do. As we get further along, I'll come back and use these thread ends to sew that little bump down. That was part of our initial magic loop. So despite doing 2 decreases on that last row, we actually increased the number of stitches in it by 1. And that's what I mean by, she'll have you decrease, but she'll have you increase on the same row in another spot, and you'll end up with either the same number or more stitches when you're done. And it means that you end up with something that takes shape the way that you want it to. I don't know, this holding 2 strands together isn't too bad for this. It's not my favorite, but it's not too bad. Sorry, I'm having to count again. Yeah, okay. I am where I thought I was. I just had to verify. bow was not where I thought I was. I'm off by a stitch. So, we're going to pull back to where I knew where I was. Count again. That's one thing I want people to take away from my stream every time is don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can correct them, especially with crochet. In fact, I'd say that that's probably my favorite thing about crochet, is how easy it is to fix mistakes. Like with crochet, I make a mistake. Oh look, I just pull the thread back out. Ta-da! Mistake gone. Time to fix it. With knitting, hold on, I have to adjust myself. Couch is eating me again. With knitting, you have to do what's called kinking, which is basically unknitting, going backwards. Because if you were to just, rip it out the way that I do with the crochet, you would end up with losing all of your stitches, because you have to have your stitches on the needle for it to work. You can't just take the hook out and pull back. So, yeah, knitting, it's not quite as easy to fix those mistakes. I need water. That's where it gets tricky. That's where I'm going to have to start swapping colors. Next row is fine, but then the rows after is where I have to do color swapping, and that's going to be a pain because I'm not quite sure where the color swaps need to happen. Finally. Okay. I might be able to pull it off without worrying about the color swaps until I get to the actual tentacles and stuff. We will see. For right now, we've got another invisible decrease on our hands. Okay. I'm gonna count real quick, make certain I'm where I think I am. So. invisible decrease. There we go. You can really see how the Nautilus is taking shape here. Funny thing is, this is how it's going to be later. But we're not quite to that point yet. We've just finished row 19. And this particular plushie has a total of 18 rows. So we are at the halfway point, which is nice. Need to figure out where the eyes go. Because the eyes are going to have to be on the fleshy portion, not the shell portion. Okay. Pull that out. I'm not going to finish the whole thing on stream. Not tonight. And I'm hoping to have it done so it's in the mail next week, so don't count on seeing it in its entirety at all. I will try to remember to get pictures, but I'm very bad at pictures, so. At this point, we've been going almost an hour. I'm going to take a break and probably end the stream for tonight, because I'm going to have to study the pattern a bit, maybe go grab one of my pre-made ones that I happen to have handy, because I want to figure out where the flesh part is and where the flesh part isn't, so that I can do the color swaps properly for it. So for right now, I do want to thank everyone who came out this week to view the crafting stream. Next week will be the gaming stream on Saturday, crafting stream on Sunday, generally middle of the night. But I do want to thank everyone again for coming out. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I'll see you next week.